So in my last video we have talked about strength training pyramids and why it is so important to have variety in your training. If you haven't watched that video, go and watch it because this one will be like a second part to it. So if you've watched the video, I'm sure you remember this graph with these pyramids. And today I just want to explain you exactly what you should do in order to build the base of that pyramid. If I were to explain in detail how to build each part of that pyramid, it would be just like an hour-long video, so tell me in the comments if you want that. So let's answer the question, why is the base so important in the first place? Why does it bring so many benefits to the beginners? And actually it even brings a lot of benefits to intermediates, so why even is that? So as you already know, in order to make our base wider, we really need to focus on low intensity and high volume of training. Basically the high volume is really useful for mainly two things. The first one is improving your technique of the lift, your coordination. Let's say you do a weighted squat first time in your life. You get a barbell on your back and you do a squat. At first, it might be really uncomfortable, it might feel really weird, you might even lose balance and fall back. It actually happened to me once. So it completely makes sense that our body will not allow us to access all of the strength we have in our legs, because the whole movement is just so unstable. We just can't use the full potential of our strength if the technique is not completely dialed in. So it absolutely makes sense that we want to do as much volume as possible to really drill that technique. That really has an surprisingly good carryover to strength. Just improving your technique will make you a lot more stronger. So the second thing, high volumes are just very beneficial to hypertrophy. If you're working with low intensities and high volumes, that is infinitely more effective for building muscle than the opposite situation. I'm not going to explain you how, I'm not going to explain you why muscles thrive on high volumes, but this is just the fact. There are obviously a few smaller reasons, like the fact that it really strengthens and conditions your joints, it increases your muscular endurance, it increases work capacity, so you can basically recover more effectively. You can basically think about it as just developing that foundational base of fitness. It's really hard to give another analogy for this. So as we already said, the group that will just benefit the most from base building are beginners, simply because their technique sucks and they are in a state of chronic muscle atrophy. They don't have any muscles. The second group that will benefit from base building the most are intermediates, because their technique is decent and their level of muscularity is also decent, but both of these things can still be massively improved, so they can also benefit a lot from it. And the group that can benefit the least from base building are advanced guys, simply because, for example, an advanced powerlifter, he already has all the muscle he can naturally build, and his technique is already just as good as it can get, so he can't really make his base wider simply because it's already as wide as it can possibly get. So if you actually observe the training programs of advanced like powerlifters or other strength athletes, you can actually see that their base building part of their training is not really that emphasized in their whole training plan. However, if you're watching this video, I suppose you're not an advanced strength athlete, no offense to you obviously, so I can pretty confidently say that everyone who watches this video can massively benefit from a phase of base building in their training program. So right now I'm going to explain to you what I believe is the best option of base building, because I have been doing that for the last like 4 months maybe, and I have tested quite a few of different methods of doing it. So in this video I will share a method that I just fell in love with, that in my opinion is the best. So without further talking, let's go into the video. So as we said, training our base requires low intensities and high volumes. But what exactly does that mean? What are the low intensities and what are the high volumes? Basically on compound lifts like a deadlift, squat, bench press, weighted dips, weighted pull-ups, overhead press, on movements like that, I personally really like to pick sets of 5. And you could argue that 5 reps is not low intensity, 5 reps is like strength building range, something like that, but the thing is, we won't be using high weights. At least not all the time. And the most popular definition of intensity is just the load you're using. So in the beginning we could really start with something as low as 60% of our 1 rep max. So for example, if your bench press 1 rep max is like 82.5 kg, then 60% of that would be 50 kg for you. And what this will do is it will massively improve your technique associated with the lift, and also it will develop your muscle memory, which both of these things will massively carry over to getting more strength. The second thing, since we're starting from such low weights, you will be able to progress linearly for really a long time before you will need some kind of a reset and start another cycle. And the third thing, you will just really become familiar with the lift. You will really feel good under the bar, for example, with the squat. You will just feel adapted to the movements you're doing, and that also gives you huge confidence. You feel really stable during an exercise, and both of these things really also can improve your strength massively. So if you don't really have much experience with a certain lift, I would say start here with like 60% of your 1 rep max. And even if you do have some experience, then I would still recommend you to do like 65% of your 1 rep max. Just start with that weight, because we really want to start low. And don't worry, you won't be just repeating sets of 5 with like ridiculously low weights, because that's just boring as fuck. And I also couldn't do that, so I found a great way to avoid that. And it is basically through doing plus sets. What that means is just doing a set completely to failure with the same weight as your last set in an exercise. Most people basically, when writing programs, they write it like this: 3 sets, 5 reps, and there is like a little plus at the end. And that plus just means you're doing 2 sets of 5 reps, and on your third set you're just going to failure as many reps as you can without changing the weight. And as I wrote here, once you fail a rep, you just take a day of active rest, or you rest completely, and you start again with a weight that is 10% lower. And as you can see on the graph, after decreasing the weight in the next cycle, we could, for example, do like 12 reps in our last set. Meanwhile, in our last cycle, when we used exactly the same weight, we were doing like 9 reps. So you can see how that really keeps you motivated. Even when you're dropping back to lighter weights, you're still really motivated, because you want to beat the record you already set in the number of reps in each and every weight you have used before. So that is why this method is really good. It just keeps you excited, even on the workouts when you're using really light loads. So if you follow these guidelines, you will really make some serious progress with your compound lifts. You will build a lot of muscle, because with each and every single reset, when you're starting a new cycle, you work with like 10 to 15 even repetitions. You're doing like 20 to 25 even repetitions for every compound lift, and that's a lot. That will really grow your muscles. And besides that, these 20 to 25 repetitions will also be really beneficial to learning the technique of that lift and just starting to feel more confident, more stable, and just better under the bar or under the weight. And when it comes to isolation exercises, I wouldn't really overcomplicate things here. At the beginning, you might just choose like 2 body parts and just pick 1 exercise for each and just repeat it on every single training session. So for me, for example, I really focus right now on my biceps and my chest. So I do like barbell bicep curls and also like cable chest flies. So these 2 exercises, you add them to your program on every workout, and you do them for like 8 to 15 reps for 3 sets. And that is also a lot of volume. That is the main point here with these isolation exercises. And remember that with isolation exercises you can absolutely go to failure, because they usually don't really stress out your central nervous system that much, and when going to failure you just have better hypertrophy. So remember about that, go intense always on your isolation exercises. And as you can see on the graph, I wrote here that if you feel good, even after your first week, if you feel good, recovered before every single training session, you can start experimenting with adding more exercises or adding more volume to your current exercises. As you can see, I added 1 set to the chest press machine on the very last set on 2nd week. And this whole graph is very similar to how I actually train right now, with the only difference being that I have a lot more volume in my workouts. And this is my next point. If you want to grow your base as much as possible, you really want to have as much volume as possible. But in the beginning, when you're not really used to doing a lot of volume, you won't be able to handle it. That is why the more advanced you get, the more you should progress in volume. With the isolation exercises, you shouldn't even look at weight that much, you should only look at how much volume you're doing. Once you get to like 3 or 4 sets with isolation exercises, you can start adding another isolation exercises for the same muscle groups, because basically for getting muscle, the best and the most proven way to progressively overload is just adding more volume, so adding more reps or more sets. There will be a video dropping about that in a few days. It will be called MRV and why understanding it will make you jacked or something like that. I will have to think about a good title, but in that video I will just explain what is the best method for growing your muscles, and I can spoil it right now. It's basically improving your total volume from week to week. So this is also what you really want to do on your base building phase. This is why I wrote that on the bottom of that graph. And yeah, this is pretty much how you should go about building your base. I'm thinking whether it's something I missed here, but I don't think I did. Basically what you want to do here is just improve your technique as much as possible and build as much muscle as possible. This is basically what base building is all about. So as long as you have a lot of volume and you're constantly adding even more volume from week to week, and as long as you're using the progression scheme with compound lifts I just showed you, or something similar to it, you will have amazing results. You will build a lot of muscle and you will also improve your technique with every lift a lot, which will obviously transition to a lot of gains. When it comes to another video about building out the middle of the pyramid, which I call strength building, it will unfortunately not drop very soon because I myself haven't got to that stage yet. I plan to start doing strength building really soon because I'm pretty fucking weak, which I think it hurts my channel. If I don't bench like 3 plates, I think I have less credibility and you guys just trust me less, because the strength results I get are actually like pretty damn average, like 200 kg in deadlift. You could say that's a lot, but bro, I trained for like 6 years already, so I should deadlift a lot more than that. And this is the case, guys. In this video I actually wanted to cover all parts of the pyramid, how to build all of them, but I just started writing a script for just base building and it got so fucking long that I feel like this video is getting pretty long. There is no way I could squeeze in there another 2 parts without this getting to like an hour or something like that. So this is actually what I'm thinking about. I'm actually thinking about making less videos but making them longer, like more than 1 hour per one video. I think this would really let me to get into the topic, really break these complicated concepts into little understandable parts. And bro, it would be just like a full-blown course for free for you guys. So I really think this would be a nice idea. You can let me know in the comments what you think about it, but I think I will just start doing something like that. So don't worry if there will be like a 1 week break from videos on this channel. This means I'm working on something fucking big, so you can expect that. So yeah, for a video about strength building, the middle of the pyramid, you will have to wait for it a bit, because I will also have to test out a few different concepts. But the next video I will upload will be about MRV, and it is very, very important for base building. It will really give you a lot of insights on how your base building phase should look like, basically how hypertrophy training looks like in general. So yeah, this is it for today. Expect a video soon. I have a lot of scripts already written and now I have a lot of time to record those videos. So stay tuned for that. See you in the next one and peace out.